No one's coming to your party. Grow up. My mom texted that in the family group chat on my birthday. I read it twice, replied, understood, then canceled the $2,300 automatic payment for their rent. The next day, I took back the car and canceled every credit card they'd ever used. Hey everyone. Before we dive in, I have a quick favor to ask. If you enjoy content like this, please hit the subscribe button. It's free, supports the channel, and ensures you never miss out on amazing videos. Alright, let's get started. No one's coming to your party. Grow up. It wasn't a private message. It was a group chat text from my mom on my birthday. I read it twice. Then I replied with just one word, understood. The very first thing I did was open my banking app and cancel the $2,300 automatic rent payment I'd been making for them every month. The next morning, I drove over to their house. I didn't go inside. I just pressed the fob, took back the car they'd been using for the past 2 years, and left. Then I called the bank and shut down every credit card they'd ever touched. Not because I was offended, because I was done playing a role I never agreed to. Their silence afterward, it wasn't confusion. It was thick, heavy shock. The kind that settles in your bones when you realize something is truly over. Not a tantrum, not a bluff. Just a door closing for good. They thought I wouldn't go through with it. That I'd be dramatic for a moment, maybe sulk a bit, and then move on like always. But this time was different, because this wasn't the first hit. It was the last, the final period in a long, humiliating sentence where I was never a son, just a resource. A human ATM with a face they could conveniently ignore. I'm 28. I live in a small apartment on the southwest side of Denver. I work IT support for a healthcare software company. It's not glamorous, but it's steady, and I really believed we'd finally made peace. That the worst years were behind us. That maybe, just maybe, I had done enough to earn a place in the room. But they didn't want proof. They wanted silence, and gratitude for letting me be near something they still dared to call family. The real shock wasn't the message. It was how many people ignored it. My aunt reacted with a heart emoji. My sister commented with a cake. My father forwarded a meme of a clown with the caption, "Guess who's turning 12 again?" Not one person asked how I was. Not one said happy birthday. I sat there in the dark with my phone in my hand, and the funniest part, I wasn't even hurt. I was just stunned by how long I had let it go on. I've been paying their rent since I was 24, not because I'm rich, not because they asked kindly, but because they made it sound like I had to. It's just temporary. You're the only one who's stable right now. We gave you everything. Now it's your turn. That temporary lasted 4 years. Every month, like clockwork, rent, groceries, gas, Wi-Fi, repairs, I paid for all of it, even their cat's vet bill, not because I wanted to spoil them, but because if I didn't, I'd get guilted into it later anyway. And then came the messages, the passive-aggressive reminders in the group chat. Power's about to get shut off again. Mom's back hurts. Not sure how we're supposed to move without help. Emma's car broke down and she really needs to get to work. Can you spot her? That last one, Emma's car. I paid for it. She still drives it. Still posts selfies in it. Captioned one of them, thankful for people who truly support me. Didn't even tag me. Emma, by the way, is my little sister. She's 25, unemployed, but somehow always on vacation. My parents say she's just finding her way. She's been finding her way through my bank account for years. Once I asked Dad why Emma never contributed anything to the household, he said, she's not like you. She's not built for pressure. You are. That one stuck, because I was built for pressure. They made sure of it. But even pressure cracks. Last Thanksgiving, I drove 5 hours to surprise them. I brought wine, groceries, a pie. I knocked, expecting, I don't know, maybe a smile. Mom opened the door and blinked. Oh, you came. Then yelled over her shoulder, Emma, tell Josh to hide the gifts. Your brother's here. I asked, who's Josh? She laughed. Emma's boyfriend. They've been staying here for a bit. Josh had my old room. I slept on the couch. That night at dinner, Dad made a toast. He raised his glass and said, let's hear it for the man who pays the bills but can't hold down a girlfriend. Everyone laughed. Even Emma. Especially Emma. I didn't say a word. I just drank my wine, then helped clean the dishes. Then paid for the plumbing bill when the sink backed up. Because that's what family does, right? A few weeks later, Emma posted a selfie with Josh in front of a cabin in the mountains. Caption, family trip. I wasn't invited. I didn't even know they went. I found out when my coworker, not even close friends with me, asked, hey, wasn't that your sister on Explore page? Looks like a fun vacation. I checked the photo. There they were. Mom, Dad, Emma, Josh, smiling, matching beanies, holding mugs. I zoomed in on the mug Emma was holding. It had a custom print, best daughter ever. They didn't even text me while they were there. The week they got back, I got an email from my landlord. Reminder, rent is due tomorrow. They'd forgotten to mention they missed last month's transfer. They just assumed I'd figure it out, that I'd pay it. Like always. I did. I paid it. Because I'm in full. But I wasn't going to forget it. It got worse. One day while working remote from home, I heard my phone vibrate non-stop. The family group chat was going off. At first, I thought someone had died. Nope. Dad had posted a screenshot of my Amazon wish list. Caption, look at this grown man asking for socks and shampoo for his birthday, lol. Guess we didn't raise him tough enough. Can't even buy his own lotion. Cousin Ashley responded with, Uncle Mark sent a photo of toilet paper. Here you go, champ. Emma added, he probably expects us to gift wrap this too. I stared at the screen, not because it hurt, but because it was so predictable, because they didn't even try to hide it anymore. They just assumed I'd never fight back. So I didn't. Not yet. But I started collecting screenshots, messages, emails, proof of everything. The rent, the bills, the times they lied, the times they used my name for applications. Even the time I found out by accident that my mom used my credit score to sign up for a Target card. When I asked her why, she said, "It's not a big deal. You weren't using it." When I told her that was illegal, she snapped, "Don't threaten me, Mr. IT man. You'd be nothing without this family." The next week, I found out Emma had told her friends I was on the spectrum. Not true, but believable enough to spread. She said it made me easier to explain, and still, I stayed silent. I paid, I worked, I smiled, but I was building something, quietly, and they had no idea, because when you build in silence, your explosion becomes their earthquake. It happened on my birthday, again, 2 weeks after the group chat humiliation, after the cabin trip they didn't invite me to, after the rent default. They had the audacity to call me. Emma texted first, "Hey, Mom says to come by tonight, family dinner." I left her on read. 10 minutes later, my dad called. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be. We're trying to move forward." They always called it moving forward when I was supposed to forget they'd hurt me. This time I said yes, but I didn't come alone. I showed up to their house, the same place I helped repaint, the same one with the fridge exactly on time. I walked in with a duffel bag and a backup drive in my pocket. Mom hugged me like nothing happened. Dad handed me a beer. Emma smirked like she'd already won. I sat, I listened. They talked about healing, about forgiveness, about how I had lashed out by canceling the rent and the credit cards. Then Mom said the thing that finally split it all open. "You're still part of this family, but you've made mistakes too." I took a deep breath, then reached into my bag, pulled out my laptop, and opened a folder on the table. It was labeled Truth. Dad scoffed. "What's this? Homework?" I didn't respond. I clicked play. First audio clip. My mom's voice from a voicemail she left last year, screaming at me to grow up and pay your sister's tuition before she ends up like you. Second clip. Emma's voice on speaker. "He's always been weird. Just let him pay for things. It makes him feel useful." Then the files. Screenshots of credit transfers, bills, group chats. Emma's Instagram stories where she bragged about spending my money. I flipped the screen to them. They leaned in, then froze. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, came back with a USB stick. I plugged it into their smart TV. The screen went black, then lit up with a screenshot of a loan application. Dad's name, primary borrower. My name, cosigner. Without my signature. I looked directly at him. "You used my social without telling me. You put me on the line for your debt." He opened his mouth. I raised my hand. "It's already reported. They've frozen your account pending fraud review. You'll be getting the letter next week." Mom gasped. Emma started laughing. "Wow, you're so dramatic. What's next? You gonna sue us?" I smiled. "No, but he is." That's when the doorbell rang. I walked over, opened it, and let in Jake, Emma's ex-boyfriend, the one she lied about, the one she claimed assaulted her, the one she nearly ruined. Jake walked in with a black folder in his hand and sat down across from her. "You want to tell them or should I?" Emma went pale. "Why are you here?" He opened the folder. Inside, printed screenshots of fake messages she made to frame him. A photo of her notes on how to emotionally destabilize him before the breakup. A transcript of her voice memos edited to sound like him yelling. My mom started to cry. Dad stared at the wall. Emma stood up. "You two are insane. This is harassment." Jake cut her off. "You're not the victim. You're the villain. And I'm done pretending." He walked out. I followed him. Then turned back and said the last thing I would ever say in that house. "You wanted me to play the role, the good son, the quiet wallet. But now I'm the one writing the script." Then I took my laptop, my drive, and left the house behind me. The shouting started. Mom screaming Emma's name. Dad demanding I come back and fix this. Emma throwing something, maybe a glass. I didn't look back, because when you finally detonate the truth, you don't turn around to see the ashes. The next morning, I uploaded everything. Not just the screenshots, not just the voice messages. I uploaded the whole archive. A single post titled, "When Family Treats You Like an ATM," with a heartbeat inside the link. Every bank transfer, the illegal loan in my name, Emma's fake messages, edited audio, breakup plans, Mom's voicemail begging me to man up and pay her daughter's tuition. Dad's joke from Thanksgiving about me not keeping a girlfriend but still keeping the lights on. I didn't write a sob story. I didn't ask for sympathy. I wrote facts. I wrote receipts. And I wrote one final line. I'm not angry. I'm not sad. I'm just done pretending this is what family looks like. Then I hit post and turned off my phone. By noon, the post had gone viral. Not massive viral, not celebrity level, but big enough to burn. Thousands of shares, hundreds of comments. Some were from strangers. "This is exactly what I went through. My brother did the same. You're not alone. This level of evidence is insane. Go off, King." Others were from mutuals, people who knew my family. One guy from high school wrote, "I always knew something was off about your sister. This confirms it." I didn't respond. I let the post live its own life. By 3 p.m., my aunt, the one who reacted with a heart emoji to Mom's birthday insult, posted her own status, "Air your laundry in private. Family doesn't belong on the internet. No likes, Emma." She posted a black square on Instagram with the caption, "Betrayal hits hardest from the people you once fed." I nearly laughed. Then Dad went live on Facebook. Yes, live. He sat in his garage, the same one I helped him fix the roof of, and spoke into his phone with a shaky voice. "My son's been manipulated. He's mentally fragile. He doesn't know what he's saying. Behind him, a stack of beer cans. He went on to say he forgave me, that families make mistakes, that he hoped we could heal. In the comments, his old golf buddy replied, "Didn't you say you forged his signature once? Dad liked it." And that was his biggest mistake, because I had video proof of the opposite, a recording from 3 years ago. Dad, sitting on the couch with a beer in hand, telling Emma, "It's fine, I used his social, he won't notice, and even if he does, he owes us. He wouldn't be alive without us." I posted it as a reply. No caption, just the date. Then I logged off again. Behind the scenes, I wasn't just watching them squirm, I was building. I launched a YouTube channel the same week. Just one video at first, a straight-to-camera piece titled "When Helping Becomes Enabling." No names, no accusations, just my voice, calm but cutting. You can love people and still walk away. You can help people and still be used. And when they finally show you what they really think of you, believe them. It got 400,000 views in 3 days. I got invited to speak on a podcast for adult children of narcissistic families. I said yes. Then a second podcast messaged me. Then a third. Then a publisher. I wasn't chasing clout. I wasn't trying to become a brand. But the truth, people were starving to hear someone say out loud what they were afraid to even whisper. My mother tried one last time. She sent me a photo, a letter from the mortgage company. The rent had defaulted. The house was under review. Her message read, "I hope you're proud of yourself. They might take her home." I didn't answer. Instead, I replied with a screenshot of her name attached to every dollar I'd sent them over the last 3 years. Over $84,000. Caption, "You took it, not me." She left me on read. 3 hours later, I got a text from an unknown number. It was Emma. Just one line. "I hope you never have kids. You'd be a terrible father." I smiled. Not because it was funny, but because it was pathetic. They were trying everything. Rage, guilt, threats, anything but accountability. And none of it worked. The best part? I moved quietly. No posts. No forwarding address. Downtown condo, 10th floor, bought under a different name through a legal trust. Fully paid off. New view, new number, new silence. They tried calling. They tried finding me through relatives. Didn't work. Because I was done. Not just with their games, but with the whole idea of owing them anything. Not my money. Not my time. Not even a reply. A month later, I changed my number. Not because I was afraid, because I was bored. Tired of the guilt-drenched voicemails. Tired of Emma's cryptic Instagram posts about narcissistic siblings. Tired of Dad's drunk emails that started with, "You don't know how hard it was for me," and ended with, "Let's profit off this mess." They weren't reaching out to apologize. They were reaching out to reclaim the story. But I had already taken the narrative, bled it dry, and buried it. They just hadn't noticed the funeral. I didn't just disappear. I upgraded. I moved into a condo on the 10th floor. Modern, clean, cold in all the ways I wanted it to be. The kind of place with tall ceilings and quiet neighbors who don't ask questions. No family portraits, no group photos on the fridge, no spare key under the mat for just in case. I didn't tell anyone where I lived, not even my closest friends, because this part of my life, the peace, the silence, the wholeness, wasn't something I wanted to share. It was something I earned. I furnished slowly, one chair, one table, one piece at a time. No debt, no rush, no permission needed. I remember standing in the middle of my new living room the first night, barefoot on cold tile, holding a mug of coffee I made with my machine in my kitchen, and realizing no one here is going to yell. No one's going to shame me for not doing enough. No one's going to ask for money or rides or just a little help this month. There would be no group chats, no fake birthdays, no memes about me shared behind my back, just silence. Beautiful, earned silence. I started working full-time for myself. The business had been a side project for years, quiet, careful, hidden. But after I blew everything up, it became a beacon. Understood Consulting, named after the only word I sent my mother on my birthday. I built the website in one night, designed the logo myself, secured the domain, registered the trademark. It wasn't about making a statement. It was about never again asking for permission to exist. Now I help others walk out of the same cage I grew up in. I speak, I coach, I listen, and I stay private. Because my life isn't a reality show for my family to watch and twist. It's not a redemption arc they get to hijack. It's a fortress with locked gates and motion sensors, and I sleep better than I ever have. 3 weeks after I moved, I received a manila envelope at my P.O. box. Inside, a handwritten letter from Mom. Slanted cursive, floral stationery, red ink. It read, "You used to be our sweet boy. I don't know who this bitter man is. We made mistakes, but airing them like that, you humiliated us, you ruined us. Maybe one day you'll realize how hard it was for us. Maybe one day you'll grow up." It ended with, "I'm praying for you." Still, I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just wrote 3 words on the back with a Sharpie, "Keep your prayers," and tossed it in the trash. 2 days later, Dad emailed. Subject idea, "What if we went on Dr. Phil? You tell your side, I tell mine. We make peace. Audiences love father-son reconciliations. Think about the reach. Could help both your business and mine." Attached, a childhood photo of me, 5 years old, crying at a Chuck E. Cheese while Dad smiled at the camera holding up a beer. I stared at it for 10 minutes. Then I saved it. Not as a keepsake, as a reminder. They don't want peace. They want a platform. I released a new video on my channel that night. Simple, no background music, just me. They keep asking if I'm going to make peace, if I'll come back, if I'll forgive. But peace doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending your abuser had a hard childhood. It doesn't mean sitting at the same table that once fed you shame. Peace means absence of chaos, of noise, of their names. I'm not your son anymore. I'm the consequence. It got 2 million views in a week. One day, I was walking out of the office and saw a couple staring at the logo on the door. I paused. The woman looked at me and asked, "Are you him? From the story?" I nodded slowly. She just said, "Thank you. I didn't think people like you existed." That moment, that tiny moment, meant more than all the birthdays I ever begged them to remember, because I no longer needed them to clap. The world was full of people who'd been lied to by people who loved them, and now I was proof they could survive it. I haven't spoken to my family in over a year now. I don't plan to. They still post, still hint, still rewrite. I let them, because you don't argue with ghosts. You just stop haunting yourself with their stories. And sometimes late at night I walk past the mirror in my hallway and catch a glimpse of myself, older still, but not bitter, just unchained, because I didn't escape a toxic family. I outgrew it, and there's no coming back from that, ever. The shop plaque still hangs in my office. Steel plate, brushed finish, 4 perfect screws. We don't rebuild what broke you. We build what frees you. Underneath it now, a second smaller sign I had custom made last week. Guess who's not turning 12 again? And every time I see it, I smile, because this year, the party's mine, and no one uninvited gets in. Like today's story, a super thanks helps me keep bringing you the best daily content. Your support means I can keep doing what I love. Thanks for being awesome.